Hi, Ange.
Right.
Start with the news that Tom Rogic and Near Beaton are leaving the club after tomorrow's game. How disappointed are you, and what did you try and do to get them to stay?
No, you're making a couple of leaps in assumption there. No, I think it's great news. Both Tom and Nia, I've always had discussions with them during the year about, their futures and both players who've given an enormous amount of service to this football club, and they've enjoyed every minute of it. But they're two guys who come from the other side of the world, and I think at some point you need to have these discussions about what their next step is going to be. And for me, what I really wanted, and fortunately the scenario played out. I just wanted them to go in the right manner, in respect that I'm sure the fans want to acknowledge them tomorrow and say goodbye in a proper way, and I know the players do. So I think it's a great day for our football club. It doesn't always happen when these kind of things reach a conclusion. Sometimes football can be a pretty brutal industry, but I think in this scenario, I think we as a football club get to honour two of our greats, and they get the opportunity to say goodbye at Celtic Park in front of 60,000 as champions.
Reports have suggested over the last couple of days that you yourself might be on the verge of signing an extended contract with the club. Is there anything you can update us on that, and how happy you are at Celtic?
No, I'm happy at Celtic. Look, you'll never have to worry about that stuff with me. I've said all along, my own sort of fulfillment doesn't come from those kind of rewards. It comes from being part of something special. That's where I am here, and I can assure you that the club has looked after me and my family in every possible way. I couldn't feel more supported or more rewarded with with the way they've looked after me. And if I keep doing a good job, I'm sure I'll get looked after in the future. And that's not just all about contracts; it's about other things as well.
And when you look at the stats of both Near and Tom, I think it's 18 and 16 winnings medals each. I mean, it just shows you the success you can have and the longevity at Celtic. I mean, it's a remarkable record for two players to have in terms of winning medals.
Yeah, it is. But you've also got to respect, the players themselves, that there's a relentlessness to that, that you can't just win one trophy and, most other clubs, that's enough and you've made your mark. Here, those guys knew every year they start the year with the expectation that they've got to go again and win trophies again. And as I said, you've got to give them credit, especially, not that it's easier, but if you're from here and you live here, then, it's a great story if you can stay at the one club. But, when you've left family and friends and come halfway around the world and stay here for that long and continue to contribute, I think both have been outstanding servants of this football club. And they feel, I know both of them feel pretty lucky to have landed here with their first move to sort of Europe, and they've enjoyed every minute of it. And as I said, you can't sort of design these things, but I just think tomorrow is a great celebration for both those players.
You mentioned that the discussions took place earlier this season. Has that allowed you to maybe look for replacements? I mean, they're both players. It's going to be difficult to fill their shoes.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's, I kind of said from when I've come in that, I want us, to make these decisions, be strong about them, and that allows you then to plan. That allows you then to look ahead. You saw in January we did our deals early because we knew what we wanted, and there was no point sort of waiting for other things to transpire. And it's the same in this scenario, is that, as I said, for both guys, it felt like this was the right time, and particularly now that we're champions again. So, I think as a football club, then we can start our planning, without, we could have left all this till after the season and kind of had further discussions and gone through it. But it's not the way I want us to be. I want us to try and be ahead of the game all the time, and credit to both boys. They've been really good in making sure that ultimately they performed really well. And as much as we've given a historical sort of context to their time at Celtic, my personal experience is this last 12 months, and I already knew Tom from obviously the national team, but working with him on a daily basis was fantastic for me. He's the football we play, I know suits him down to the ground, and just being able to work with him every day has been it's been a brilliant experience for me as a manager. And Nero, Nero was, when I first got here pre-season training, he was probably the only senior player who was here, and I could see straight away that he was going to be an important person for me on and off the field. His influence over Liel Abada is immense. The contribution that Liel has made as a 19-year-old coming to a new country. Nero's got to take enormous credit for his development, but he's not the only one. Like, for any manager, when you walk into a new role, you kind of know the senior players can either be a real help or a hindrance in many respects. I was pretty fortunate. Obviously, Kel's been an outstanding leader and brought some good experience in, but those two and guys like James Forrest and Scotty Bain were really good allies for me in those early days, just to set up the dressing room. So I couldn't be more proud of those two guys.
From what you're saying about Tom Roderick and Neil Beaton, it suggests that it was the club's decision rather than the players' decision that their time was coming.
No. Never said that. Never intimated that. I said I've had discussions with the boys, and both of them felt like it was the right time, and we as a club agreed. So it was never about one party or the other. I've said all along with all these things that whether we're re-signing players or players coming to the end of their deals, there needs to be some commonality between the parties for things to happen. And like I said, having a discussion with the boys, that both of them felt like this was the right time for them. And us as a football club, our responsibility then lies to make that happen in terms of the decision, so that we can move on as well and make plans for the future. So
yeah, thanks for clarifying that.
No problem.
And I was just wondering about two other possible transfer moves, suggesting that Dejan Meda's his loan move is going to become permanent, and also you've been linked with Hammarby fullback Mohamed Yaza in a £2 million deal. Can you say anything about those two?
Dyson, absolutely. It was more of a technicality, but he was always going to be with us long term. There was no issue around that. It was just more the way the deal was structured with Yokohama. But he'll be, signed for I think 4 years, so he'll be here for the future. And in terms of being linked, I can tell you. I mean, I don't know the one you're talking about there, but we haven't had any discussions with any player about bringing them in right now. So anyone who's being touted in the media is probably being touted for their own purposes, not because of anything I've done. We're obviously will make moves, but as you've seen in the past, when we make moves, we'll make the deals pretty quickly, and not that they won't sort of get out, but they'll be concluded very quickly. So there's nothing at the moment that will be concluded in the next sort of week or so.
And I've seen plenty of pictures and videos of yourself with a megaphone outside Celtic Park when you got back there on Wednesday night. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, apart from the megaphone, which I didn't think was a good idea, but anyway, I got coaxed into it. It was brilliant. Obviously, fantastic scenes at Tannadice, and then we got on the bus, and it's a fair drive back, and fair to say we were all pretty exhausted by the end. I was anyway. But we got word there's a few people at Celtic Park, and once we got there, we realised that it wasn't a few people, and it was brilliant. It was one of those spontaneous things that you don't organise, but they were singing, they were letting off the fireworks, and it was great for the boys to just go out there. I keep telling them, and they realise that just the impact they have on on the people who follow this football club. And it was well beyond midnight, and there's thousands out there, singing, and that's what this team has done for its people. And it's great that we could share that moment with them.
And with the title win, securing Champions League group stage football, just how exciting a prospect is that for you and the players to be able to go into Europe's top competition and test yourself against the best teams?
Yeah, it's brilliant. That was, there was plenty of motivations to win the title this year. Not least that, we obviously didn't win it last year, but knowing potentially that extra carrot was there was a massive motivator. Because I just felt that it was a great way to sort of us, accelerate our growth as a football club by being involved at that level and getting exposed at that level. Our players, our team, our football club, that's the level we want to be at every year. But if having to qualify, particularly, we all know the qualification process is not straightforward. It affects your pre-season. It affects the time off the players have. There's all these ramifications. It affects your recruiting because you just don't know, are you recruiting for Champions League or are you not? So all these kind of things now we can work with a lot more certainty in this off season to give the players a break, have a really good pre-season, also identify the players we want, knowing we're going to be playing in Champions League. And beside all that, mate, it's going to be exciting. Celtic Park, Champions League, bloody brilliant.
Hi, Ange. Turning to the game at the weekend, is this the one game of the season where it's pressure-free and you can just sit back and enjoy it?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not me. I want to win and I want to play well, and that's how I'll be preparing the team. It's great. Obviously, there'll be a great feeling in the ground, and receiving the trophy is going to be it's going to be a great day. But we want to play well. We want to show why we're champions. We want to win the game. We've been fantastic at home all year, and we want to finish it off in the right way. So it's not like I'm going to roll up at 5-3 and just sort of wander out there and see what happens. We're having the same training sessions, the same preparation, and I'll make sure the boys are up for it. And it is Tom and Nir's last day as well, so there's an extra incentive for us to make it a memorable day. And all these things become really memorable if you get the right result and play the game the right way.
Returning to the list you were speaking to Andrew about, the Champions League list of players, how many are on that list? Could you tell us?
In terms of
who you're potentially recruiting?
Oh yeah, look, not a number, but it won't be obviously as extensive as last summer. But there are some key areas where we'll bring in. And I think the difference this year is we're going to bring, we need to bring players who will increase the quality of our squad, increase the quality of our starting 11, make our squad more robust to handle playing another 60 games next year, but also playing at a higher level in terms of Champions League. So, you saw in the first half of the year we just had to get through somehow, but players were getting injured. We were overburdening too many because we just didn't have the squad to cope with it. So, Champions League is going to be obviously pre-Christmas. It's going to be jammed in together pretty quickly. So we're going to need a stronger squad. So it won't be, it won't be as many as last year, but it'll be higher than 0. So pick a number there, mate. It's all yours.
Hi, Ange. James Forrest, was it important for you to get him tied down for a longer term deal? His season's been kind of disrupted by injury a little bit, but he's proven at Celtic.
Yeah, look, he's had a frustrating couple of years, but I think it was important. I really wanted James to stick around. Part of building a team, building a culture is that you need constants through that. People who have won things, people have been, who understand this football club, who, I see James every day. I see how he trains. I see how he goes about his business. And, I think I get some people just watch, the end result, which is the game, and it's the most important thing. And he's had a frustrating couple of years, but I still think he's got a lot to offer us. As I said just a second ago, we're going to need a stronger, robust squad. It's not just about having, one good player in every position. And I was delighted because, again, he's, when his career ends, he'll go down as one of the greats as well, with a fantastic, career of winning things. And, he adds another championship this year to the League Cup winners medal, where he scored an important goal in the semi-final, and hopefully there's more to come. So, great to have him a part of it. Really, I think, like I said, it's part of us building the culture of this football club, continuing the culture of this football club. And, with James, it was, I was really pleased that he was able to extend his deal here.
Of course, tomorrow you will want to win the game to sign off the season, but how difficult is it to put what's going to happen after the game out of your mind and the players' minds for the 90 minutes?
Well, it's, again, they're human beings. And I think you saw the other night at the Dundee United game, that's probably the most nervous we've been all year in terms of our football. And I can understand it. Like I said, they're human beings. And, there might be a tendency tomorrow maybe to think about, the celebration and the fact we've already achieved it. But at the same time, this group continues to rise to every challenge. They want to be the best they could possibly be. Their training's been excellent last, couple of days. And as I said before, it's an important day for a couple of the club champions. So I don't think there's any chance that you'll see anything less than 100% full throttle from Callum McGregor, and God fear anyone who doesn't follow him.
You talked about being proactive in the transfer market. Was that why you brought O'Reilly and Gucci in to fill in the roles of Rogic and Beaton?
Yeah, that was one of the thinking, because I kind of knew that there was a good chance that, as I said, I've been having discussions with them all year, so there's a good chance that they'd be moving on. And I thought January, I think I wanted to bolster the squad straight away, but particularly, bringing in three midfielders at that time. And you've seen probably Gucci hasn't had the opportunity he's warranted. Obviously, he had the injury, and that set him back a bit. And then, the team's been sort of going well since then. But, he'll be a big contributor for us next year and get more an opportunity. And, we've already sort of bolstered up our midfield in anticipation of, some players moving on. But that doesn't mean we won't be bringing others in that area. I still think that that's an area of the park where we can strengthen. But having bought Maddie and Reo and Itaguchi in, all midfielders in January, means that we don't have to sort of bring in too many in that area this summer window.
And it feels like an end of an era with Tom Rogic and Beaton leaving. It's important to have them around this season with the experience they've got.
It was crucial for me. As I said, not just with on field, and I think both were significant contributors on field. I mean, Tom was outstanding. He had a couple of little setbacks, but this is probably as fit and as strong as he's been physically, during his whole career at Celtic, and he's been unbelievable. And Nero, he filled a really important midfield role for us. I said to him the other day that, I would love to have managed him sort of 4 or 5 years ago, because I think, that's his position, central midfield, and he has all the sort of ingredients you want. And there's some big games this year where he had to step in, and we needed his experience on the field. And they're guys that, when you're talking about playing in derbies or playing in big games or playing away from home, whether that's at Livingston or difficult venues, these guys have been there and done that, and they're they're sharing the dressing room with the guys who are doing it for the first time, and it's invaluable. It was invaluable for me having them there. And now they get a chance to pass the baton on to somebody else, and somebody else has to, thankfully, a lot of this group has been through that now, and it's up to them to sort of take it to the next level.
Can I just get a squad update? Sorry, it's Josip Juranovic back for the weekend. But...
Yeah, Josip is trained, so he's available. We'll see what I do tomorrow in terms of the team, make a few changes, but they're all good. There was a couple who were sore after the other night, but we obviously sort of change the team as well. So, we'll still have a strong lineup out there.